Qatar Airways, widely appreciated as one of the world's most elegant business classes. The service, the dining, the meticulously styled cabins. But once you've booked a Qatar Airways flight, just how much does their service differ from one aircraft to another? Well, tonight come travel with me from Johannesburg, South Africa, all the way to Chicago, Illinois, as we not only fly with Qatar Airways, but tonight we're trying out two of their industry-leading business class products. Come along with me as we explore the positive and the negative aspects of both of these products. Tonight, we'll start our journey in Johannesburg, South Africa, where we will travel to Doha in a Qatar Airways A350-900, testing out their Super Diamond Business Class. After a short layover, we'll board a Boeing 777-300 aircraft equipped with their industry-leading Q Suites product that will take us on to our destination in Chicago. We'll start our journey tonight in the British Airways Lounge at OR Tambo Airport in Johannesburg, where I had some time following a short flight in from Cape Town. This lounge was clean and well appointed, much like most British Airways international lounges, with a decent food selection and an open bar. Qatar Airways offered me use of the much busier Songholo Lounge with my business class ticket. However, I was able to gain access to the British Airways Lounge using my One World status. When I first arrived, the lounge was a bit more packed, but after the British Airways flight departed, I had a mostly empty lounge to spend the final 2 hours in. Alright, so we just finished up the British Airways Lounge. It actually got quite a bit more quiet after the British Airways flight left. We are heading on over to gate A7. We're going to catch our flight over to Doha. So I'm really excited to take you with me. After making my way over to my gate, there was a bit of delay in boarding the business class cabin. As I watched the main cabin boarding, I was stuck in a small, very warm boarding area while I waited for the business class boarding to begin. After some slight delay, we were off and down the jet bridge to find my seat for the 8-hour flight to Doha. On first impressions, Qatar Airways went all out on the presentation. I arrived at my seat to find pillows and blankets laid out and an amenity kit meticulously set on a platform behind my seat. My seat for this flight is seat 5K, a seat near the back of the business class cabin. On this Airbus A350-900 aircraft, Qatar Airways features a Collins Aerospace Super Diamond seat, which is fairly standard across today's business class products. Qatar Airways cabin is organized in a 1-2-1 layout. For the most part, there aren't any major differences between any of the seats in this cabin. The seats in the center section are great for couples, while the window seats are great for solo travelers. There is a larger 6-row cabin in the front, with a smaller 3-row cabin near the back of the business class section. However, they are only separated by 2 small counter-height minibars, which gives the cabin a very open layout. Plenty of room to stretch out tonight. My feet barely touch the leg rest with this seat in the upright position. This seat has plenty of storage spaces. To the right of the seat, there's a good-sized storage cubby, and to the left side of my seat, there's another storage cubby built into the armrest with a specific spot for a water bottle. This armrest moves up and down with a button on the seat control panel. Lastly, there's a small drawer under the seat in front of me, which could be perfectly sized for a book or to store your shoes during the flight. No sooner had I sat down than I was offered a choice of a pre-departure beverage. Following the wait in the hot boarding area, I wanted something cool and refreshing, so I chose Qatar Airways' signature lemon mint juice. This always hits the spot and relaxes me as I get ready for any long-haul flight with Qatar Airways. I could tell right there that the level of service on this flight would be top-notch, and I have to say, it did not disappoint. One nice feature of this Super Diamond seat is how open it felt. Those of you who follow my channel know that I have pretty wide shoulders at 24 inches or 61 centimeters, and I have plenty of shoulder room here. As I waited for pushback, I took some time to browse the provided menus and the menu options. Qatar Airways not only offers a food menu, but also has a rather extensive wine and drink menu, complete with liqueurs and signature cocktails. Just reading through this menu had my mouth watering in anticipation of the meal service that was to come. I taxied to the runway, and it was off into the late evening South African sky and our next stop, Doha, Qatar. With the plane off the ground, it was time to kick off my shoes and slip into the provided slippers. Like most airline slippers, I found that my feet were just a bit too large for these slippers to be comfortable, but they would do for walking around the cabin tonight. As I waited for meal service to begin, I took a second to glance at the contents of the amenity kit. Qatar Airways partners with Diptyque to provide a good selection of products in this kit, even if tonight's cardboard box might not be the most elegant of presentations. However, inside of this box, Qatar Airways provides a refreshing selection of body cream, lip balm, and there's even a container of face cream. Next to this, there's a small spray bottle of eau de toilette, as well as a face mask and earplugs, which are key to sleeping in any open airplane cabin. Following takeoff, cabin crew came around with the drink service as we waited for the first meal service to begin. Having settled into my seat, I opted for a glass of the Alfred Gratien Rosé Champagne, and with this I was given a bowl of warm nuts, served in a way that made them seem all the more exclusive and elegant. For the first meal service on tonight's flight, I was offered a light meal of prawns with tandoori spices. It was just the right amount of food for 10 p.m. and the flavor profile was absolutely wonderful. Meal service over, I made my way to the lavatory to change into the provided sleepwear. This lavatory is well decorated with wood accents and even has a makeup mirror with a ring light. There are provided amenities and a face mist, as well as dental kits which I use to brush my teeth. And with that, I was all ready to head off to bed. While I wasn't able to get any footage of the bed in bed mode, I was able to sleep for about 4 hours of the 8-hour flight before I was woken up for the next meal service. This seat itself was nothing special in bed mode. There was plenty of legroom for my 6'2" or 188 centimeter body, however the shoulder space was a bit on the tight side in bed mode. The breakfast meal service, Qatar Airways even serves a multi-course breakfast offering, something that European business class carriers don't even offer. For starters, I had a Greek yogurt with fresh berries, and for the main course, I opted for a hand-rolled omelet with spinach and cream cheese. This was followed with the selections of rolls and jams, and even a box of chocolates by the cabin crew. While this breakfast service was well worth the early wake-up, as with most Middle Eastern carriers, arrival preparations took place way earlier than I thought necessary, and I was left sitting in a semi-tired state for another hour after meal service before we finally landed in Doha. Fully expecting the standard Doha bus gate, I was pleased to find that our flight actually pulled up to the main terminal, offering me a smooth transition for my short by Doha standards, hour-and-a-half connection time. Currently headed over to transfer security. Hopefully it'll be pretty quick. I got about an hour and a half to 2 hours to kill in Doha. Then we're going to head over, catch our 777-300 that's going to take us on over to Chicago. Fortunately today we didn't have a bus gate, which is very convenient because it's daylight outside and I did not want to stand in a hot bus for several minutes. So hopefully the next plane will also not be at a bus gate. One of the perks of actually flying through Doha on a business class ticket is access to the Al Morjan Lounge. While I didn't have a ton of time to browse the lounge, I took a minute to walk around before opting for a quick shower in preparation for my 15-hour flight back to the United States. Just look at how massive this lounge is. It's absolutely cavernous in here, from the large reflecting pool in the reception area to the individual nap suites to the chef-catered dine-on-demand area. The elegance in this lounge is absolutely palpable, and it feels like no detail when overlooked by Qatar Airways. And with that, it was time to make my way over to my gate and onto the Boeing 777-300 that would make its way over to Chicago, and with me on board. First glance of this suite, it is so private. There is so much space in here, and despite being in a cabin with several other seat cubicles, it gives me this feeling that I'm on this plane all by myself. A feeling that is matched with the top-notch service provided by the cabin crew on this flight. For this flight is seat 1K, a business class suite found in the front part of the cabin. With the Q Suite product, Qatar Airways offers passengers a wide number of options in choosing their flight experience. For solo travelers like myself, the window seats are the best option, with the A and the K seats facing backwards, whereas the B and the J seats face forward. However, for av geeks like me, the A and the J seats are closer to the windows and offer more privacy from the aisle during takeoff or landing when the door must remain open, whereas the B and the J seats are closer to the aisle and offer less privacy during takeoff or landing. Qatar Airways designed the seats in the middle of the cabin for couples or groups of 4. The E and the F seats are undoubtedly the best seats for couples, as the partition between the seats can be lowered and the proximity of these seats to one another offers a rather intimate feel. Seats D and G, also in the center section, are a bit further apart. Qatar even designed these center seats with families or business meetings in mind. When they designed this cabin, any group of D, E, F, and G seats open up to create a group of 4 seats, offering a sense of community or a collective group travel experience. On this 777-300, there are 6 rows of seats in the forward cabin and a smaller aft mini cabin of 5 rows, or 4.5 rows due to row 7 only having 2 seats. These are separated from the forward cabin by a galley. It is worth noting that row 11 shares a bulkhead seat with the economy class cabin, which also hosts the bassinet seats for this cabin, and this might not be the most quiet location in the cabin. However, it is worth noting that seats 11E and F are a set of couple seats that are not located in one of the 4 seat pods. Reading through reviews of my seat online, I found that my seat, seat 1K, had slightly less shoulder room than the other K seats due to the curvature of this plane. But let me tell you that even with my abnormally wide 61cm shoulders, I felt like this suite was super roomy and there was plenty of shoulder space to be had. Av geeks like me will love that my seat has not 1 or 2, but 3 windows. Much like the previous flight, cabin crew were quick to come around with pre-departure beverages, and once more, I opted for the rosé champagne. However, the marble-esque appearance of the side table may have embellished the presentation with a bit of an elegant veneer. As with the Super Diamond seat, the Q Suite seat offers a ton of storage. To the right of my seat, there is a movable armrest with plenty of storage and even features partitions for organizing laptops and a spot for an individual water bottle. The armrest on the left side of my seat, while narrower, is adjustable, allowing it to extend the width of the bed when in bed mode. Under the wide IFE display, there's a tray table which extends into what might be the widest tray table I've ever seen. This is perfect for spreading out when eating or getting some work done in flight. Just as with the previous flight, I took a minute to browse the menu and once again found myself wondering how I was going to put all this food away. That, however, was a detail I'd let myself figure out later on in the flight. Without any more pomp or circumstance, we pushed back and found ourselves on our way to the runway and off into the mid-morning sky over Doha. Our 15-hour flight in Qatar Airways Q Suites was only beginning, and I'm excited to see all that Qatar has to offer on today's flight. One note of the K and the A seats facing backwards is that it makes for one of the most interesting feelings during a takeoff roll. While I kind of liked it and thought that facing backwards was one of the most unique views I'd experienced on a plane, those prone to motion sickness might want to pick a B or a J seat as they face in the normal forward position. Back in the sky, it was once again time to kick off my shoes and stretch out for a bit. While there was a bit less legroom than the upright position on that of the Super Diamond seat, there was still plenty of legroom, and the footbox is plenty spacious for my large feet. Though I will say that in bed mode, it is a bit tight for a side sleeper like me. Before long, flight crew brought out a moist towelette made by Diptyque. While not a warm towel, the rose scent of this towelette more than made up for that, and I have to say, I always do like wiping off the hard surfaces of my seat before a long flight. With that, flight crew set up my table with a full tablecloth and these unique battery-powered lanterns before bringing out a prawn starter and starting the meal service. I followed up that amuse-bouche with an Arabic mezza plate because while in Qatar, I just couldn't bear not getting an authentic Arabic mezza as a starter. I absolutely love how Qatar Airways plated this. The attention to detail in their service really is one thing that brings the level of service to new heights. For my main course, I decided to get the Qatari Barramundi because while passing through a country, I absolutely love trying the local fare, even if it is from an airplane flying away from that country. I love the spices in the fish and the way the rice was plated. Everything about this meal has an elegant feel and an elegant level of presentation that can only set a new bar for business class catering. Unfortunately, as I had earlier anticipated, I ran out of room for the dessert and I had to throw in the towel. Fortunately for me, flight crew brought out warm towels as I had eagerly been anticipating earlier, and they cleared my space for me. With that, I made my way to the lavatory to once again change before catching another nap. This lavatory, much like the one on the A350, was well appointed with wood accents and well lit. Once again, we have a makeup mirror and several drawers containing dental and shaving kits. Another nice touch I didn't notice earlier is this changing bench, which is a welcome addition when changing clothes in an airplane lavatory. I returned to my seat to find that the cabin crew had made up my bed for me. The two provided pillows and the plush fleece blanket made for an elegant bedspread even if I personally don't get cold enough on flights to need the provided blankets. I settled into my bed and I drifted off to sleep. After a full 8 hours of sleep, I woke up refreshed for perhaps the first time ever on a plane. As you can see, despite my wide shoulders, I had plenty of shoulder space in this seat thanks to the wide armrest, now adjusted to the lowest setting, offering me extra width at shoulder level. There's even a few inches of shoulder space here to spare, and that almost never happens to me on a flight. As I took my time in waking up, I took a minute to admire the views of Greenland out the window. Not long after I woke up, a flight attendant asked if I needed anything, and I asked if they would make me a cappuccino. Not only did they make it, but it showed up with a cookie and in one of the most fine presentations I think I'd seen on a plane. Fully caffeinated, I took some time to get some work done, fully utilizing this massive tray table. Look at all this space. Not only did I have enough space for my laptop, but I was able to set my tablet next to it for a dual screen display. Satisfied with the small amount of work I was able to accomplish, it was time to test out that cocktail section of the menu I talked about earlier. I mean, it wouldn't be a full business class review if I didn't try everything, right? My thoughts exactly. So I guess I'll just have to see how well Qatar Airways can make an old-fashioned. The results actually surprised me. Maybe it wasn't the best old-fashioned I'd ever had, but it was really good, and certainly the first I'd ever had on a plane. An hour or so later, flight crew started the next meal service in preparation for our arrival. Once again, a multi-course affair, I started off with the Greek yogurt, which was really refreshing and the perfect note from which to devour my second Qatar Airways omelet today. I'm telling you all, this is the best breakfast I've ever had in the skies. This second omelet, much like the first, was just a bit crispy, but instead of a cheese omelet of the first flight, this one had spinach and cream cheese, as well as chicken sausage. The spinach was cooked well and complemented the savory texture of the omelet and the chicken sausage. As with the first flight, Qatar Airways provided an elegantly assembled amenity kit to complement the flight. The contents of this amenity kit were the same as the first flight. Once again, we have the body lotion, the hand lotion, and the lip balm, along with the eye mask and earplugs. However, this time, Qatar Airways exceeded my expectations regarding presentation as this one came in a leather-esque bag. This seems way more fitting of a business class product than that of the cardboard box offered on the earlier flight. As we made our way closer to Chicago, I took some time to once again reflect on the flight. I think that as far as the refined feel and the decor of the cabin goes, Qatar did a great job with each product. Yes, the Super Diamond might not be as flashy or as industry-leading as the Q Suites product, but it is still a good product. If privacy is the most important aspect of a business class seat to you, you want to make sure you keep an eye on which aircraft you booked, as you certainly want a Q Suites product. Also, be wary, as Qatar Airways is prone to swapping products. While each product service was top-notch from check-in to arrival, and service on board each product was every bit what I expected of a business class product, you can tell that a lot of thought went into the soft product, and it certainly shows. If you have a chance to take any business class ticket with Qatar Airways, you will be met with an experience that will be hard to match in any regard. The only part of this experience that could have been improved on, however, is the ground experience. In both Johannesburg and Doha, the boarding process did not feel refined or like that of a business class product at all. In Johannesburg, we were marshaled into a hot boarding area to wait for a long time, and in Doha, I had the same experience following the extra security screening for planes bound to the US. This is hardly the experience I'd want on a business class product. I'd like to give a special thanks to the flight crew at Qatar Airways who made this experience so wonderful. I'd also like to once again take the time to thank all of you who are following along in tonight's video. I love being able to bring you along with me, and I do hope that you will follow along for future videos. If you enjoyed today's video and want to follow along on my future travels, please hit the subscribe button. Every subscriber will help me to grow the channel and provide you with more flight reviews in the future. Until we travel together again, so long.